it looks like it's working. Hopefully it is. Let me give just a second to make sure. See, my internet's kind of messing up today. Okay, let me go ahead and get started. Today's video, I'm going to be trying to kind of clear up some of the confusion. I know I get complaints often, not complaints I guess, but concerns from clients who they go online either to look up a symptom that they're looking for a natural remedy for, or they're looking up, trying to research a particular herb, and the amount of information that'll pertain to one particular herb is overwhelming and confusing for them. So that's kind of the point of today's video. This is the second to last in my series of 10 that I've been doing, just trying to address more of a, I guess, an introduction to what integrative herbalism is, and then trying to address the top 10 questions that I run into with clients and customers here. But before I get too far with it, I also wanted to let you guys know that my member vault is up and running, which I'm super excited about. I'm going to put a link at the top of my page for you guys to sign up. That's the place where you go and you sign up there, and you're going to get free access to all of the videos that I've done with this series. It's lifetime access for you, and it's also where I'm going to be posting any future videos or classes and things that I do there. I'm really excited to have it. It's going to, my vision for it is more like just a one-stop place for you to go, and you have access to all sorts of fun, interesting, and useful information. Okay, let me get back to the topic as to why it seems so confusing when you're researching using herbal remedies, and you get these lists of things. A very important factor is time. Herbal remedies have been used since people existed. You know, anytime anyone's got an illness, an injury, a disease, some kind of pain, right? It's been for millennia. They've gone to, first always natural remedies. And another factor is the fact that it's also worldwide. Any place that there's ever been any body existing, they've turned to plants in terms to try to figure out useful ways to use it medicinally. And so there's such this huge variety, right? Because if you live in India, or you live in South America, or you live in in Japan, the plants available to you are going to be significantly different than like somebody living here in Louisiana, or even in the northern parts of the United States. And so that creates a lot of the big variety of it. And there's also this interesting factor with plants and with herbal medicines in particular. It's there's a coevolution, I guess, that's been shown to exist, right, where plants and people and animals kind of have evolved very similarly. That is, when you pick a plant or an herb or anything from the ground, even food, you pick it out of the ground, you eat it, your information's getting chemical information about your environment from the food that you've eaten. Then as you digest it and it goes out your body, then the environment around you is picking up information about your body based on how and what information it gathered while you were digesting it, right? And so plants have kind of co-evolved with us over a long period of time. And so that's why before recent, where we have access to anything we want basically around the world, it was very, herbal medicine was very specific to where you lived and what was readily available to you then. Now specifically in terms of Western herbalism, and I'm going to go more towards the United States because it's kind of where I'm from. I'm not going to make this a history class, I promise. But when, in the mid 1800s, when the government and society decided that we needed to start regulating medical practitioners, which is a very good thing, I promise you. But in the process of setting up the certification process, a lot of damage was done to what at the time was referred to as traditional medicines or herbal medicines. One, but not the only aspect of this, was the fact that the university and the medical school systems didn't allow women or minorities admission, right? And this was and the result of that is a lot of the information that the women and the minorities who were the primary caregivers within the homes, or more prolific practitioners, their information was kind of lost in the more official or certifiable sense, right? And a lot of the reasons why women and especially minority women were the ones with the most information about this is, one is access. You're living in a rural area, you may not necessarily have time to wait for the doctor to come. A lot of it was money. Poorer parts of our community couldn't necessarily afford to pay a professional doctor to come in. And then even when they could, there were a lot of times that, of course, stupid things like racism denied them. It just kind of gave them more limited access to it, right? And so, but when they did this certification process and women and minorities weren't allowed, it kind of in essence made herbal medicine illegal. Then you add to that the layer of the FDA certification process, and the whole thing becomes just this big bulky mess. And through the FDA certification process and all these, that's why they have statements every time you hear something about a natural remedy, or even talking with me, I have to say or put this disclaimer in there that these statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to treat, cure, or prevent any disease. It's very much there because of this layered kind of bureaucracy that we've developed in order to try to regulate who, in essence, can call themselves a medical practitioner, right? And so there was a long period of time where herbalism went underground. There was very little incentive for, like financial incentive for people to do laboratory work and studies on them to prove effectiveness versus not effectiveness. One of those reasons is because you can't trademark a flower or a weed that grows in your backyard, right? And so therefore that kind of falls outside the scope of the FDA or even like private companies being interested in research it. And then another factor was that the remedies and recipes and formulations were kept in personal records. It was something that you did at your home, and it was through a matter of trial and error and knowledge that was passed down. So a lot of even the formulas and the information we have today is very, very specific to whatever circumstance that family was going through right now. Which is great, because when you talk about bioindividuality, it gives you experience on how certain herbs and chemicals work within your body specifically, or the people that you know around you that you're working with. And herbs by their nature really don't cure anything. What they do in general, the way they work, is that they support your body systems while it heals itself. And so each of us being biologically unique, that's what I've called the bioindividuality, your body's not going to process the herb the same way that I would, or the same way your dad does, the same way your sister does, right? And so there's often some variety in terms of formulations and uses for each of these. And so what I'm going to try to do today is I'm going to take the top 3 herbs that I use the most and kind of more popular today, and go through what each one does, why it does what it does, and then hopefully you get a better understanding moving forward on how this can be helpful to you when you're looking at doing your own research, right? So the first one I wanted to talk about is chamomile. It's considered very effective for things like calming your stomach and helping you sleep, but it also, as a mouthwash, it's been shown that it can help promote healing of sores inside your mouth. As an oil, it's used for wound healing. It's even been shown to be very effective with eczema, even just as much, if not more so, than like hydrocortisone, right? So how can one herb that can help everything from a colicky baby all the way to eczema, like how can it do this? How can it function that variety of the ways? Well, one of the things is that your central nervous system has a direct impact on the way your entire body functions, right? And chamomile is a nervine, which means it has calming effects on the nervous system. So when you drink your tea, the calming effect it has on your nervous system helps to relax your stomach and your digestive muscles, which allows your stomach to relax and function better. So like in terms of colicky babies or any other kind of digestive issues you have, that's how chamomile affects that. But on the skin, it also works very similar, and the same thing for a mouthwash. It has a very mild, like antimicrobial properties to it, and it also, again, calms the surrounding nerves. And so in calming the nerves and then kind of keeping the bacteria away, it reduces the inflammation. And when you have less inflammation, your blood flows better to that particular area. So that's how it can increase the speed of healing, right? And so that's kind of why and how chamomile works to cover such a wide variety of situations and circumstances. The next one is one of my favorite herbs, considering with our modern stressors and the way our modern society is set up, and that's ashwagandha. Ashwagandha has been used for centuries, very much specifically in India and the Ayurvedic processes. And now, because India doesn't really separate modern and alternative medicines like we do here, there actually have been quite a few lab studies showing its effectiveness and to back up that what they claim it's useful for, it actually is. And so if you're interested in looking up those scientific studies, go for it. There's a lot of it out there. But ashwagandha is commonly listed as being useful for things like stress management, restoring your vitality, like it's kind of like your love of life, increasing mental alertness, especially in people over 65. It can help reduce some of the effects of anxiety, increase athletic performance. It can help address certain sexual and reproductive problems, and also things like insomnia and even arthritis, right? And then there's this list of about 60 other things that you can probably look for. So it kind of sounds like a miracle drug, right? If it can do all these things, why is nobody out there, everybody's not taking tons and tons of this stuff? Well, the primary reason that it has such a broad-ranging use has to do with how it helps your body physically recover from stress, right? So unlike things like antidepressants or anxiety medications, it doesn't interfere with whether or not you feel anxious or depressed or stressed or any of that. But what it does do is it supports your body to get rid of those stress hormones more effectively. Because when you're stressed, your body redirects a lot of its efforts from your internal organs out towards things like your arms, legs, fingers, feet, so that you can react in a way that you would need to if you imagine like you're in danger. But over time, when you experience chronic stress, the effects it has on your brains and internal organs suffer from this lack of attention, I guess is how you call it, so that they don't function quite as well as they should. And at the same time, all of those chemicals rushing to your limbs on a very consistent and chronic is reduced. And so when the inflammation is reduced, that's when you get the relief from the physical pain. Your internal organs recover in your brain. And so with the, because you're going to get a more proper blood flow and you're going to get kind of your body balanced the way it should be, or the way that your body's after, which is a homeostasis, trying to balance itself. And then with the adrenaline reduced, you sleep better, you have more energy, and when you sleep better, you have more energy, then you can perform better in sports, your thinking becomes more clear, and then of course when it comes to sexual and reproductive issues, your body can redirect its attention that way if it needs to be. So that's kind of how ashwagandha works and why it has such this broad use. I personally love it. My husband takes it every day. It's a really fantastic herb. And the last one I'm going to go over today is another one that's kind of been in the news a lot lately, is turmeric. Turmeric is listed as being used to help pain, especially joint pain, but even depression, lower cholesterol, some liver issues, certain cancers, Alzheimer's disease, gum disease, and what seems like, I guess, about 1,000 other different issues. Again, if it does all of that, why isn't everybody taking tons of it, right? Well, turmeric works, has a more direct effect on inflammation. That's how it works. And so this helps not only with your physical pain, like in your joints, so that's why it refers to arthritis and stuff, but often inflammation is also internal, especially in your blood vessels. That's why it's actually been shown that a lot of heart disease and heart attacks are inflammation related, because when the walls of your blood vessels are swollen, the blood can't go through as efficiently, so you can't get the oxygen and nutrients you need. So with turmeric having this direct effect on inflammation, you can get a relief from the physical pain and allow the blood to flow more efficiently, which again continues to reduce the inflammation. And so as your entire body needs blood to work, it's a major benefit to all of our different body symptoms. And turmeric also has kind of an interesting effect on the brain. Again, they don't know exactly why. I've got theories, but I'm not going into that. But it can help balance the levels of serotonin and dopamine in your body. And so that's where the effects, beneficial effects on depression and anxiety and things like that come from. Because it really, when your serotonin and your dopamine levels are balanced the way they're supposed to be, your entire central nervous system functions better. And it's also very high in antioxidants, which helps, of course, in prevention of a lot of disease. There's been study and a lot of things in the news about antioxidants and cancer prevention. Another benefit that turmeric has, especially if you use the whole herb, like if you're using it in a seasoning or in some other way in your food, a lot of people even put it in milk, is that it helps to support your microbiome. Your microbiome runs from your mouth all the way through your digestive system. It's full of beneficial bacteria and viruses and different other little happy creatures. And a healthy microbiome is not only good for your immune system, which of course people talk about that quite a bit, but it's also been referred to as our second brain. It's been studied to have a significant effect on our mental health. And so when your microbiome is functioning properly, you also have a clearer mental functioning and emotional functioning too. And so that's why it has the physical effects, because when you're nervous system is balanced and your microbiome are working positively, then the rest of your body, again, can function and heal according to what it's after, which is that balanced homeostasis that we're all looking for. With all that being said, understanding how an herb works is one thing, but then applying it to yourself is another thing. And so that's why I always emphasize getting present first. And I ask so many questions about the types of symptoms you have. Where are they? How often do they have? Are there certain things that make it better or worse? Is light better, cold better? Even the temperature of your food, all of that matters, because in order to uncover the best herbal remedy for your situation, you have to dig into the underlying cause. Even if you don't immediately find it, you pull it away layer by layer and by layer until we can uncover the root of what's there. Then once you know the root of what's going on, then you can support that particular body system, and then that's where you get to the point of deciding which herb or which herbal formula best suits your individual needs. And I know for me personally, in uncovering the whys of what's going on before we even get to the how to fix it, I also like to take into account your lifestyle and your personal preferences. You know, if there's a tincture 4 times a day, something that's not practical for you. Some people don't like the way tea tastes, so that's not going to help them either. Or you may even be sensitive to certain smells or tastes or textures or something like that, because the most powerful herb in the world won't do you any good if you can't use it, either through preferences or lifestyle, right? So that's why there's so many questions and so much emphasis on getting present and truly recognizing the messages that your body is trying to send before we can ever go through with the how to fix it. I really hope this helped, if nothing else, explain why these herbs can cover so many different things. And then maybe as you go forward in your own research, you can kind of start differentiating. It's like, oh, that's why this herb does this, or that's why this lists 27 things that it does. And it's just like, you know, mint that I can grow in my backyard without even thinking about it, right? Now, as always, leave any questions that you have in the comment section. I'll reply to them as quickly as I can. You're welcome to message me or call me. I'd be happy to help explain or just anything, address any questions or concerns that you might have. Next week is the last one in this particular video series. That one's going to be focusing on how to cope with changing hormones, especially with things like menopause and kind of perimenopause. And so hope to see you guys there next week. And again, don't forget to sign up for the Member Vault if you want access to all of this and then any future classes and videos that I have. That's where they're going to be stored. Thanks for stopping in. I hope you have a great day. Bye.